mindset. I want to get into that too. Just the wealth mindset, the wisdom mindset, just the healthy mental, physical mindset too, but just the ability to not have an emotional response to things, not let things bother you that you can't have no control over, keeping yourself busy to keep yourself energized mentally, physically, all this stuff. What are some of the things that you do? Maybe life hacks, maybe, I'll name a few of mine too, like maybe affirmations. Like I like really putting like my running stuff. I go on a run every day, exercise every single day in some way, shape or form. Usually have a pretty strong routine, but what are some of the things that you do just to make sure that you are keeping in your best shape? Like you're meeting your own standards and like you don't need extra motivation from anything.
Yes, that's actually a great question, because I think the way somebody does one thing is how they do everything. And I've always kind of had this very obsessed mindset about everything. Like whenever I do something, I do it to the best of my ability. Like with my ex-girlfriend, I literally bought the Tony Robbins course on how to have the best possible relationship. Like that's the kind of person I am. I cannot do something half-assed. It freaks me out. So with working out, I kind of found the best way to work out, to be explosive, to have high energy, to have high energy all day long. Because one thing I learned about training is if you train short and intense, that becomes your working style. If you train slow, methodical, and over a longer period of time, you're a longer period of time worker. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. And I've optimized my dating, I've optimized my life, relationships. If I do get into a relationship, I've optimized my health, my energy, my supplement stacks. And I kind of have this. So before crypto and this YouTube channel and all of this stuff and like the semi-retired thing, I was actually a peak performance coach to like millionaires for roughly 6 months. Oof. And it's very interesting because you start it is. And I kind of designed this system based on a couple books, Reality Transurfing, Psycho-Cybernetics, some of Tony Robbins' programs, and I think also some NLP stuff, courses I went through. And I kind of made my own system. I call it Evolution of Self. So one of the things that is very important for me because of my personality type, and I think a lot of us are the same personality type, I need to have a feeling of progression and something I'm aiming for. Because when it feels aimless, that's when you get depressed. You're like, why am I doing this? What is the meaning of life? And that's kind of the conversations guys like us get into.
Yeah.
So I have this ultimate vision of my life. What is the absolute ultimate vision of my life where I'm like extremely happy with my life, my social life, my social circle, my network, the things I'm building, the impact, my financial status, etc., etc. And I look at that every day. And days that I don't look at that is when I get very depressed because I don't know where I'm walking. And with this bear market, it's kind of like this conundrum where I can use the money I have now and build that life, but then I can also take that money and put it into the bear market. And right now, I'm just making the sacrifice of like, I'll travel here and there and stuff like that, but just all the capital is going towards the bear market because I can buy that life 100 times over in like 2 years. Because in some things in life, you definitely do need money. Like one of the things I want to start doing is exclusive social events where you just have like a bunch of your friends, a bunch of your brothers, and then you just invite a bunch of people over. You become like the big social network of the city that you're in. And you just have an amazing social life without having to drink, without having to go to nightclubs, without being exposed to like the dangers of the nightlife, especially if you have a bit of money and people know it. It's optimizing your life so you can have everything without putting everything at risk. And I've also been learning about a lot of stuff like trust and tax optimization and just preparing. Yeah, I think lifestyle optimization is massive because once you kind of have a bunch of money, because I came to this realization, is when you have a bunch of money and you can do anything, but you choose to do nothing, that's even more depressing. Because you've been giving all of these resources and you're doing nothing with it. Yeah. And then you're just you cannot use money as an excuse. You're just a loser. That's literally all it comes down to. It's 100% yourself. No,
I think that's tragic. If you were, people were to make all this money, and I think that's another thing too. People act like it's play money, but every single market cycle, every single cycle, you see the numbers, you see the chart, you see what it does, and every time you tell people about it, there's that's not real. That's not real. It's been real. It's been real every single time. Why don't you believe it's real? Like just because it's not happening at this single moment doesn't mean it's not real. I don't understand that either. So yeah, when you make the big pile of money and then you sit around, like you said, like why would you, like what is the point? I guess maybe some of your thing too is like people have a plan with what to do, look in the future and understand like how you are today, you're going to be different in 1 or 2 or 3 years if you make the right decisions. And if you don't make the right decisions, you're probably still going to be different, but not in the way that you want to be different. So like just planning ahead and just like, everyone's got busy lives. If you could just take set aside some time and just be like, this is important to me. You know, as I did a short the other day. When you say I don't have time, that just means it's not a priority. That's something Naval says all the time, a person I follow a lot. So it's like, it just means it's not a priority or not a high priority for you. So anytime you say I don't have time, just acknowledge it in yourself. Just like put yourself in debug mode for a minute and be like, this is not a priority to me. If don't have time for it, is not a priority. And if you have time for your finances, your future is not going to be set up the way you want it to be. You're not going to own your time. At least I'll say that.
I love that. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because there's just people, and when it comes to life, it's not making the most amount of money as possible. Because I follow this guy, Alex Hermosi, and the thing he always says is, once you have a lot of money, you start getting obsessed with having a lot of money. But then what happens when you die? Maybe because I'm done 26 in September, and what if I die at 30? And I die with all of this money and no impact and no good lifestyle. I was just waiting for the future. At some point, like the way I was kind of taught in one of the masterminds I was a part of like 2 years ago, is the way the guy sets up his finances. So I met him when he was worth like 7 million, and now he's worth like over 100 million, and he didn't touch crypto. That was all business and real estate. And the thing he taught me was cash is trash. And the amount of money that he keeps on the side is he keeps 6 months of living expenses on the side. So whatever your living expenses is, he keeps 6 months in your personal bank account or wherever you want to store it. You can also store it on the blockchain if you don't trust banks. And 12 months of business operational expenses. If you have that, every dollar above that should either be invested in yourself, coaching programs, masterminds, or the market, or real assets, or crypto, or whatever it might be. Because just having a bunch of money, and also just like a percentage of everything that goes above that stack, maybe like you invest 70% and 30% you are forced to spend on living your life. And I think that's a beautiful way of approaching it.